Welcome to Active FM.
Okay.
And yeah, I think we have around 24,000 people listening every week. So it's great to have you on here. And very excited to have you on here because the topics we're going to be talking about today is topics that I'm overly interested in. So I was very happy when I saw, what you're involved in and what you're about, and very keen to actually chat to you on this. So very excited about this conversation. So thank you for coming on.
Okay, so thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I am the CEO of Texas Blockchain Center, LLC, and it is a master series company. So some of the sub-series under it are PaperScore and TeamMate.me and DAC1. So these are some tech companies, and I am involved in all three of them. Particularly PaperScore is a high-tech company that is going to be a blockchain application or a DApp with NFTs. And DAC1 is a blockchain company that is actually just a smart contract that's going to be some particular kind of ERC20 token. And yeah, so that's about it.
Okay, well, shall we start with that one? Because I do a fair amount of crypto myself, also do a little bit of blockchain coding and so on. So I was quite interested in that one. So are you it seems to be like journals or those sort of things that you can put up, but then it becomes NFTs.
So PaperScore, you mean?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yeah, the current publication industry, research publication industry is based on a very old paradigm of just having a centralized publication and an editor or an editorial board that decides what to publish, what not to publish, and then authors or researchers submit the manuscripts to the editors, and the editors decide who is going to review the manuscript, if anybody, and after getting the reviews, they decide to publish it or not. So, and the decision is almost always binary. So your manuscript is either published or not. So there's nothing in between. And so the quality of your manuscript is just 0 and 1. And this is ridiculous, and this has been going on for more than a century. So this is the current paradigm and the dominant system in the research publication industry. So we want to change it. We simply want to change it, and along with many other things. So one thing that we change is that, of course, this binary system is obsolete, and it is just it would be applicable for very old publication industry that was just publishing very few papers, and the papers were very simple. So it was just right or wrong, something like that. But now the papers are very complex, and there are various validity issues and various aspects of the paper that should be considered at the same time. So we consider 4 continuous dimensions for each paper, and we essentially have the program. What happens is that we automatically assign the paper to some reviewers, and we collect their ratings and their feedbacks on the paper, and we give each paper, based on the feedbacks of the reviewers, we give each paper or each manuscript 4 scores that can be continuous, so they're real numbers. And so that's one change. Another change is that we are removing the editorial board, or the role of editor in the publication of research. And so we are trying to decentralize the publication process. And this means that we are not, so we are less susceptible to human errors and human bias. So, currently what happens is that editors can just dictate what's going to be published in the journal and what is not going to be published. And so if they are biased in any way, of course, their bias influences their decisions, and the whole journal will be biased. And usually some paradigms become dominant because the editors, so in some particular journals, so in a family of journals, the editors believe in similar theories or systems. And then when they want to choose a new editor, what they do is that they select someone who has already published in one of those journals, or has published many papers actually in those journals. So someone who is aligned with their thinking process, with their paradigms, So it is like a circular mechanism, So the new editors will be just among people who have already published in that journal. So, and it's like, like a kind of oligarchy that, preserves itself. And it is like a theocratic oligarchy, So because it's like you have some religious group ruling an entity, and so even if the people change, the ideology doesn't change. So this religion can be a research method, a particular research method, or believing in some theories, So, and this the main effect of it is actually slowing down the progression of science and making hard for any groundbreaking theory to be noticed soon enough, So let's say, for example, when some actual religious people were ruling in Europe, so when Darwin came up with the idea of evolution, so there was a lot of resistance, and so there are some similar theories that are dominant and are not challenged as much nowadays too. So and that is mostly because of this circular editorial system, So essentially, you can publish. So essentially, if your paper is in the mainstream and aligns with the interests and ideas of the editors, you have a much higher chance to get published. But if, for example, your paper is interdisciplinary, you have much lower chance, So if your paper is, let's say, in the intersection of finance and, let's say, information technology, so like something about blockchain, so there is no good journal, there is no high-level top-tier journal that publishes those papers. And you will have a hard time publishing it in finance journals or publishing it in IS journals, So, and this slows down the progression of science. So, because most of the innovations, most of the novel ideas are interdisciplinary, are multidisciplinary, and they're not given a good chance to, they don't have a fair chance to compete with the papers that are in mainstream.
A very good point. And I guess Wiki was a perfect example of this, Wikipedia, where, originally it was Encyclopedia Britannica. And in fact, when Wikipedia came out, I remember reading about the story, and the biggest thing Encyclopedia Britannica would say was, well, they don't have experts putting their notes together. And what they found after a few years is the non-experts putting Wikipedia together, and because you had the public editing it and so on, it was a lot more up to date than what the Encyclopedia Britannica could offer. So I guess it's a similar concept here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so now Wikipedia is giving a chance to giving voice to many more people. So, you know, many more people can express their opinions. So, and I think Wikipedia is much more accurate reflection of information in the society rather than Britannica. So
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, nobody goes to Encyclopedia Britannica anymore. You go to Wikipedia to look something up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was interesting. You're going to be basing the system, I think I sort of saw on a DAO type basis. So actually giving people a vote, and that's the researchers that you're actually going to get to kind of rate each of the papers that come in?
Yes. So the papers are rated, reviewed and rated by a pseudo-random set of reviewers, and the reviewers are aggregated and using a formula, and each paper will be given some aggregated ratings and anonymous reviews. Preferably anonymous reviews, but of course some reviewers may decide to reveal their identities. It's up to them. But what happens is that after the paper is published, so first of all, the publication decision will be up to the authors. So we don't have editors. So we do not decide, okay, which paper is published, which paper is not. We leave it to the authors, and we tell the authors that, okay, so these are the ratings and reviews for your paper. So what do you want to do? Do you want to publish it? Do you want to revise it? Do you want to withdraw it? It's up to you. So if the ratings and reviews are very bad, so it's probably not good for the authors. It's not going to help their reputation. It's going to hurt their reputation. So they probably would not want to publish that paper in that state. So, or in that condition, so they may want to revise it and publish the revised version. And after, if they decide to publish the paper, if they decide to publish their paper with the reviews and ratings attached to it, then it can become an NFT. And so the NFT, of course, is unique for the paper, and it has actually it brings a lot of values to the research, to the research studies, because nowadays, so now we see that mostly NFTs are applied to arts, so art is unique. So we have a painting, we have an animation or something, and an NFT is created just for each unique art. But research studies are also unique, and they are actually very similar to art. So they're creative, production, creative outcomes of humans, and it would be fair that we let the creators of these artifacts benefit from their creations, So, and it is particularly important because when citations happen to the researchers, so the citations can be towards the NFTs, So, and so it is clear that you make this contribution, and your contribution stays there forever,
Got you. What's fascinating me is, yes, originally NFTs were pictures of, bored apes or punks or whatever the case might be. And I think what a lot of, what we might have missed sort of towards the end of last year and going into this year was actually it's that NFTs give you ownership of something.
Yeah.
And it's that ownership that's unique. Eventually we, our home title deeds, or the title deeds to your car actually could end up being an NFT. And this is just another case where something came out of the blockchain technology, which is probably going to change how we do things going forward. Because the one thing the blockchain gives us is it's definite, it's there, and it can't be changed.
Yeah,
So
I think it is a new form of.
You've actually gone with this concept.
Yeah. So I think NFT is actually a new form of intellectual property, or it is a kind of intellectual property that enforces itself to some extent, so it comes with a degree of enforcement or a degree of self-enforcement. So of course, by self-enforcement, I mean enforcement by the blockchain or by the smart contract. So, and in this particular situation for research studies, it can be actually very helpful, in my opinion. And as far as I know, nobody has done it before. So PaperScore is the first one. And
fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic. And of course, it guarantees that what you're looking at is the original, and it hasn't been tampered with.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Great, man. Now one of the other ones was Teammate Me. So yes, that also looks quite interesting.
Yeah, so Teammate Me, I came up with the idea of Teammate Me when I was teaching at UT. So I was teaching about 260 students in 4 sections. And so as far as I remember, we had a team project, and for the team project, so the students should group into teams, and I just asked the students to form teams among each other. And so the students, so we just tried to find their friends, try to make teammates with their friends, and just students who, so just sitting near them. But there was no systematic way to find teammates. And I see that, okay, so the students, they don't have any systematic way to find teammates, especially when there is a large pool of, potential teammates. And I searched for an app that could help with this, and I didn't find any app. And I thought, oh, that would be great if we had an app for finding teammates and forming teams, because there are many apps that help for project management. So when you already have a team, you can manage your teams, you can manage your project with many apps that are out there, like, Asana, Trello, Microsoft Teams, etc., etc. But there is no app to form a team. And especially, there is no app that lets you rate your teammates. So, give your teammates ratings, because so not all teammates are created equally, So some teammates are very good team players, some teammates are not as good. So, yes. And in a course, when you have teammates, so you get some idea about who is good, who is not, and there is some information, okay? But when you go to the next semester, you see new people, and there are new students, there are new classmates, and all that information is lost. So, so it would be great if you could somehow ask the previous teammates of the students that, okay, so how was this person? So, but there is no way. So everybody is just like a, clean slate. So, so this lost information, we thought that, okay, this information can be actually useful. So we can store this information somewhere. We can let the team members rate each other and leave reviews for each other. And this actually can help students after graduation to find better jobs, to show that, okay, they are good team players, so they have these reviews about them for the team projects that they have been they have been working in. And so, and also in real life, when you go, so after graduation, when you want to find a job or when you want to work somewhere, for most jobs, you need a team. So if you're an entrepreneur, you need to build a team, you want to build a company. If you want to make a movie, you need a team. You need, directors, actors, you want videographers, etc., etc. If you want to build a house, you need a team. If you want to do anything, almost anything, you need a team. And this, so this, I think is very important to be able to find good teammates and to know the past performance of potential teammates, so some information about them and how they were in their previous teams, something like that.
Exactly. And how long has Teammate Me been going?
We started it in 2019. So in late 2019, and so we changed the design a few times, and we added several features to it, and we made a lot of changes to it. So it has evolved since then. So, but the original idea was this,
Okay, great. So interesting time to start something, because COVID hit us just shortly after that, and I would imagine something like this actually becomes more needed now.
Yes, I agree, definitely.
Yeah,
and especially nowadays many things are done online, so the location is not as important as before. So in the past, if you wanted, for example, to form a team to play volleyball, so you probably, it would be better to find your teammates around you in the same city or in the same area, so that you can play volleyball together. But if you want to find teammates for a video game, it doesn't need, they don't need to be in the same city or in the same area. So your teammates can be from different countries, and you play as a team online. So so you can find teammates from all over the world. So essentially, you have a global pool of potential teammates. And how can you find good teammates? So you have a lot of opportunity. You have more opportunities because you can have teammates from anywhere in the world. But how can you find them? So there is no systematic way except with Teammate Me.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Now, the other interesting bit is the data science side of it. So I see you're quite involved in data science, and it seems to be especially with distributed governance, with collective intelligence, FinTech, and then blockchain technology. What side are you doing there, or what's involved on that side of it?
So, okay, so that's actually a good point. So since I have been in academia and I have a PhD, so I'm a kind of data scientist, and I am always interested how we can use data to make better decisions. And my philosophy is that we should try to be as positive as possible, as opposed to normative, with respect to our observations and respect to our decisions. For example, with Teammate Me, we had a design, an original design, and we evaluated the users' feedback and how the users interacted with the website, with the homepage especially. And based on the users' feedback and based on the users' interactions, we changed the design. And then what we did is that what we implemented 8 or 16 different designs, 16 different designs, and we are running all the designs at the same time. and we are collecting data from the users. So we see how the users interact with different versions of the website. And we are actually trying to find the best design based on the users' interactions. So essentially, our boss is the users. So, the user actually tells us what the design should be. So essentially, our chief designer would be the users or the users' data. And so we should try to read the users' minds using the data and use that data to optimize our designs. And so this is just one aspect of using data to improve the business, improve the company, or improve the website. So we can just improve the design, test. So they call it A/B testing, split testing. So we can use that to A/B test different designs of the homepage, different designs of the sign-up page, etc., etc. But also, of course, that in marketing, we collect data and we use data to do better advertisements, to design better campaigns, to target better audiences, etc., etc. So these are ways that data is used already in many companies. But we went a step further, and what we are doing is that we are actually very flexible, because teams can be applied, can be used in for many different audiences, and team building has applications in many areas. So musicians can build teams, students may want to build teams, professors may want to build teams. They want to find co-authors or research partners. Gamers may want to build teams. So essentially the platform has a variety of applications, and we don't want to serve all the world for every possible application. We don't need to do that. We want to focus to serve a particular audience that can use the platform the most, and the platform provides the most value to those audience. So what we do is that we are testing the conversion rate and interaction rate of different audiences, different audience groups, and we're trying to compare the performance of the website with different audiences to see actually which audience, which market is more promising. So we are appealing to which market more. So that's actually, so that makes us very flexible, and essentially we just need to appeal to students. So there are millions of students in the world. So that would be a large enough market for us. We can just appeal to freelancers. We can just focus on gamers, on movie makers, So we collect data, and then we decide which market is the best fit for the platform, or actually in which market we are most needed, So that is actually one way that we can use data.
Okay, excellent. And just out of interest, what have you found so far with Teammate Me? Where have you found that it's actually worked the best in the last few years?
You want information?
So just a little bit. So you found it sort of just generic, nothing specific, obviously, or to give away any competitive sort of information, but is it sort of working well in like more IT type industries with students, with gamers? What have you found so far?
We have had a lot of success with the students, especially for extracurricular activities and finding study mates, not for course projects a lot, but for finding study mates or finding roommates, So so this is what they have used the platform for. And But we are just exploring. We are trying different markets, different audiences, and we are not sure yet what market is the most promising one. So we are going to try, and eventually we are going to find a very, very good, promising market, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But for the time being, students out there should be hopping on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. And nothing wrong with that. Facebook started with the students.
Yes, you're right.
Look at them now. They took over the world. Hey? Great, man. So how have you, because it seems that you've actually worked, you've worked at universities, and now you've sort of gone into your own business from what I can sort of pick up here. And how have you found it in business compared to sort of working, being a lecturer and so on at universities?
So that's an interesting question. So in universities, you have some safe job and specific responsibilities. And so it's kind of easier, I think, because it is straightforward. But in business, especially as an entrepreneur, you cannot predict many things. There are many unknowns. Essentially, there are many things that you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know. So, and when you start playing the game, so you gradually learn the rules of the game. And it is exciting, but it could be stressful in the beginning when you don't have a lot of experience. And there are many things that are not in the books, and you will learn in practice. And I have read a lot of books on business. I have studied many books on business and on managing people, on running companies, on strategic planning, etc., etc. But when I actually did it, I learned a lot of more things, and it's so I know that experience matters.
Absolutely. And if nothing else, if you do end up back in lecturing for any reason, not that would happen, but you've actually got a much better stories to tell now, hey?
Yeah.
Compared to sort of teaching it.
Yeah. So if I go back to university and teach again, I think I can do a great job teaching anything about, project management or IT project management, especially. So I have a lot to offer beyond the books,
Absolutely. Well, my last question is going to be for any of the budding sort of entrepreneurs out there. What's your advice to them?
What was the question? Can you?
Any of the young entrepreneurs out there that are just about to start their adventure in their own business, what's your advice to them?
My advice. Okay, so my first advice is that the most expensive way to learn is try and error. And the cheapest way to learn is reading. So read books, read. And many people who have tried these things have written their experiences, have documented their experiences. So you don't need to try and experience them again. So try to learn from them. And then after that, of course, you still need to experience some more things yourself.
Okay, very good. That's very good advice. I think somebody who learns from somebody else's mistakes is a genius.
Exactly.
Well, Daniel, thank you very much for your time. Yeah, this has been very informative and I've really enjoyed it. And we're going to be putting your links up as we send the podcast out. But I'm definitely going to be going to your websites. I think the Paper Score one and the Teammate Me are both fascinating me. But that Paper Score one, because it's NFTs and I love blockchains and crypto and those sort of things, I'm definitely going to be looking at that one. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Cheers.